Welcome into the dedicated podcast, the first episode of 2025. And we're starting off the new year with some exciting news. Of course, it's a great time for DR Sports. The DR7 season is on the horizon. And with that will come a new venture. It's been a long time coming. Ben Spicer, Johnathan Mumphrey here, joined by our special guest here on this episode, and that is Coach Marcus Applefield, coming from us down in Florida. And he's the center of our big news today, and we're excited to announce the addition of Drive7Bigs to the DR Sports vertical and brand. And we'll have him kind of break it down, tell us what that is. But I'm going to pass the floor over first to Mump and kind of let him break this decision down, this addition down, and just what it means for us and how exciting this is for DR Sports and the DR7 community.
Absolutely, Ben. I mean, the first thing is Happy New Year, Happy 2025. 2025 going into our fourth year, we just continue to want to expand the verticals of DR Sports. And so, we've been really in a lot of prayer about finding the right people for a couple different of our brands we're launching. So Drive7Bigs is our big man competition. And the great thing about it is what you guys will start to see is we want to give those athletes an opportunity to compete just like we give the skill athletes an opportunity to compete in a very competitive environment in one location to some of our national events. And so what we'll be creating in 2025 is our all 22 showcase. And what that means is you have 11 offensive players in the venue and you have 11 defensive players. We'll normally run our DR7 as we normally run it. Meaning that, hey, our athletes that are competing on the 7-on-7 side will compete on that, on the road to the crown. But then we'll bring in our Drive7Bigs, our linemen, and they'll be competing on one field at a very high, intense level. We're looking to have some of the best athletes in the nation that comes to this event. But when you bring in a brand like this together and you're beginning to bring it to fruition, you got to have the right people. You got the right team. You got to have the right people with the right characteristics. Integrity is very, very high on our list. But one of the major things we wanted to do is have the right guy, a right person, a right team that has the right morals, but also have the right teaching and want to develop the athletes. So when they leave our showcase, that they've learned something. They're just not out there running around in shorts and t-shirts, that they learned something. And so just a total blessing. And I'll let him get into a little bit, how we met and things of that nature. Coach Applefield comes with a very extensive resume. But after spending several different times phone calls with him, I saw his spirit. I really felt like he was the right person to fit right into our dedication and respect model. He respects the game. He has the right character. He has the right integrity. So Ben, we're super, super excited. We'll launch our first event at the end of February in Texas. And then we'll run a schedule all the way to the road to the crown. So it's just really, really exciting to have the right people. And as God begin to continue to send people for us. So with that said, Ben, I'll pass it back to you. You can kind of, tell a little bit more about Coach Applefield.
Yeah, 100%. As you mentioned, Coach Applefield has a decorated resume. Played at Rutgers, played at Virginia as well. Spent some time in the NFL with Baltimore, blocking for my guy Lamar Jackson. So had to throw that in there. That's pretty cool. And now oversees prospect performance in Florida too. So great gym, about an hour north of the Tampa area, I believe Coach said. So very exciting things that he's building down there in Florida, and we're excited to partner with him. So I want to pass it kind of over to you now, Coach. So the thing that stands out to me, obviously, the things that we look for, integrity, dedication, respect, everything like that. What kind of made you want to partner and work with DR Sports? What did you kind of know about DR Sports, DR7 beforehand? And how excited are you for this opportunity?
Yeah, I am. I'm so excited. I'm blessed to be a part of the brand, blessed to be a part of the culture. And I guess culture is the number one thing that made me kind of direct to DR Sports. Is out of all the 7-on-7 leagues or venues, whatever it may be, DR Sports has set the culture, right? The ethics is there, the culture is there, the integrity is there, and that mirrors me and that aligns with me. So I thought there was no more of a perfect connection than me with DR Sports. So culture is definitely what brought me there.
I love it. And I know, obviously, we're still trying to iron out all the details. Jonathan said that first tournament will be that Houston tournament at the end of February. And I think you've already put a list of rules together. We're not going to get into that today, but I'm just kind of wondering, from a broad standpoint, kind of explain the format, the functionality of what a Drive7Bigs event could possibly look like.
Yeah, so a Drive7's big event will almost mirror a 7-on-7 event when it comes to time and tournament wise. But game wise, it's extremely competitive. In the 7-on-7 world, points only matter when touchdowns are scored. If a receiver blows by a DB, he ain't getting a point for that unless he catches that ball and ends up in that end zone. You know what I'm saying? Whereas our bigs event, points are being scored on every single rep. So that's where that competitive edge, that's where that competitive nature out of these guys is going to be very high intent, right? High intensity competitive nature. A lot of blood going through the veins on these events. So I'm really excited for it. And that's just the biggest thing is when the 7-on-7's going, you can bring your big boys to these events now instead of them going into the weight room for the whole off season. Now they can focus in, sharpen their sword or their blade on their fundamentals when it comes to O-line and D-line. That's one thing that's definitely been neglected in the football world is our linemen. So getting our linemen as sharp as possible, making sure they leave our tournaments with something fundamentally learned, right? And being in the most competitive nature that you'll probably see.
You mentioned the competition aspect, but what are some other takeaways maybe that, linemen that come to these events will be able to learn and grow as players from having competed in these events?
Yeah, so I mean, our events in particular are going to showcase or either, show these linemen's vulnerabilities, right? So either when you're showcasing, finding out what you're really good at, or you're losing a rep because everyone needs to lose reps. That's the only way that you'll be able to learn. I hope that even our best guys are losing reps. If not, we need to get some really elite guys there, right? But we'll have the most elite of elite. So guys will be losing reps. And that'll be the biggest thing is making sure you're losing reps and then making sure you know what you're good at, right? So that's kind of my biggest goal is to put all those reps on a spotlight, see what they need to do to get better and see what they do best. So that'll be foremost up front.
Last question I have for you just about Drive7Bigs, and this is kind of an overview question of what the future holds. So we're going to let you look into your crystal ball a little bit here. What's your vision for what this could look like in the space of lineman competition, and what do you think the future holds, not just for Drive7Bigs, but for this space in general?
Yeah. So DR Sportz has kind of set the standard in the 7-on-7 world, right? The culture's there, the standard is set. People look at DR Sportz and say, hey, what are they doing over there? And how can we be as close to that as possible? You know what I'm saying? And there's no standard that's set in the 5-on-5 world yet. So I firmly believe that the standard will be set with DR Sportz in the 5-on-5 world as well. The standard will be set and people will be looking over at us like, dang, what are they doing so good? You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be my biggest crystal ball look is just going in, setting the standard with integrity, with value, and just good play all around, right? So I'm just excited to set the standard, working one rep at a time, one day at a time, one tournament at a time, and then just making these guys better at the end of the day. That's what we're all there for, to develop, get better, and set that standard.